What's up? I'm Kyle, also known as Trash Panda Taste. And today I'm going to be doing something just a teensy bit different than normal. I'm going to be making a video essay of sorts on the commonalities and coincidences of religion and political power and how those two kind of like mingle together. And I mean, this you're just gonna look at just throughout the entire course of history. So be ready for just surface level. Much deeper dive will hopefully come in the future. Stay tuned for that. Well, it'll come out when it comes out. It's gonna be a while. Even though it is just basic summaries, you'll soon find out that it still brings out enough evidence to hopefully bring about questions and curiosity about the subject from you, the viewer, and just these things on the subject as a whole. This video essay is not meant in any capacity to disrespect or shame anyone's beliefs. The point of this video is to take a peek at the inner workings and influence of religion as a whole in the hopes to bring about a more cautious mindset when dealing with the subject. Well, let's get started. Influence plays a major role in the formation and creation of ideas and morals, with some of the just great examples of it being the influence of Minoan and Egyptian culture on Greek mythology or Greek religion. Mythology and religion are one and the same. You can fight me on that. And the influence of Babylonian culture on the reformation of Yahwishism into the more monotheistic version that we see today with Judaism, which that is Yahwishism, but that's neither here nor there. Influence is a very special phenomenon that, on top of being extremely important to the growth of humanity as a species, can also be heavily tracked throughout the entire course of recorded history. The first example I gave, the one with Minoan and Egyptian cultures influencing the Greeks, is a prime example of the phenomenon working within the more ancient realm of religion and government. And a specific story from this example would be, or like a specific, a situation in this example would include the appearance of Lo and Danaos cycle of legends in the Egmios and Catalog of Women. I probably butchered all of that, but we'll keep rolling. Which created close links between Egypt and Argos in Greece. That quote, which will be right there, is something that shows a close connection between the two cultures. A close connection that can be assumed to leak into most, if not all, aspects of Greek culture. And following this line of logic, assuming it's good logic, honestly, I think it's good logic, but to each their own. Anyway, according to the line of logic, religion is a major aspect of both cultures, and in turn would obviously be greatly affected by the merging of the cultures or the influence of one people onto another people. If that makes any sense. especially when it comes to like story and myth within them. The connection between Minoan and Egyptian culture into Greek culture or mythology is only one of many connections that exist within this. And each of these connections builds on each other, where it actually creates kind of like a paper trail that you can trace back to it, actually. Where it goes so far that you can have entire textbooks that go over the whole thing. It's a big book. I didn't use this for this video, but I will use it in the future. But the existence of these connections creates like a huge red flag in terms of hypocrisy that ends up being ingrained into all of this religious scripture. As far as the one true God or gods goes, and explaining that further, almost every religion has the true God or true gods, and the even if you boil it down to the core of the true gods, in these were true gods being that there's only those gods in that religion, no other gods exist. Most religions, have this whatever, but that idea of that true God is completely contradictory to the trail of influence that leads back way beyond what the scope of any every specific every religion has. Sorry. I'm getting tired right now. And basically it goes back way further than any of them actually talk about, because the influence kind of stacks like a house of cards. That house can be traced down back to the bottom, and you can have very clear reasons as to why, for example, the Greeks have a polytheistic religion with gods of death, beauty, nature, etc., because they were influenced by their predecessors and cultures and religions from beforehand that also were polytheistic in belief, with gods of death, beauty, nature, etc. And this line can be traced back so far that it becomes illogical to think of it as anything other than connected, and it's very hypocritical to say there's only one God or one set of gods, if that makes any sense. On that note, the other beginning example of Babylonian culture influencing modern Judaism is a great example of this accentuation, because this example shows how stories or prophecies can be sold as fact in the wake of seemingly connected events. This connection, or the connection within this specific example, has to do with the exile of the Babylonian Jews from Israel. The exile was an event prophesized about in Scripture and thought to be connected to the Scripture. though with the self-aggrandizing nature of humanity on their own importance, it's most likely nothing more than a fluke, falsely connected to pre-existing fantasies. And just, you know, the good old confirming of belief, as it's put. Time to wrap this experiment of a video up. Just to reiterate, this is only a surface level dive into the world of religion and politics. Believe it or not, the iceberg goes much deeper. I might as well just be, sunbathing on the top of it, freaking getting a tan. It goes because it gets pretty it gets pretty crazy. Anyway, the surface that I have touched on still has proven to have a lot to offer and excellent examples that lay a foundation for the understanding of many much greater subtopics of subtopics underneath that of religion and politics and the connection between those two. For instance, with this video, influence has shown to unveil many hidden hypocrisies present in most, if not all, of religion, and the self-aggrandization of humanity has shown to create false purpose and flawed reasoning when it comes to the telling and interpretation of historical events. Religion has just as a whole has proven on even just a basic level, though I'd argue I'd argue that's the most devastating level, to be paper thin and easy to poke holes through. And this video has effectively took all the manageable information that I could compile for this assignment, and through concise consideration for stuff that supports religion and says no dice to that, the scale is pretty clearly on the side of religion being an invalid concept. And yes, though that scale can technically be tipped back the other way with new information, it's probably not going to happen, because as far as any other research for this video, or like other research that I have done after doing the research for this video, just in finding it like way more than what I have in the video, it just builds and builds up and dog piles on the side of the scale that goes against just any semblance of validity that religion had or has. Yeah, I guess has would be the right word for it. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, honestly, I'm surprised, but clearly you wanted to learn, and I hope you got something out of it. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. This has been interesting experience. And, well,